Hello and welcome to our special program on the Two Sessions, one of the most important annual events on China's political calendar. I'm On Qi at CNC headquarters in Beijing. With me in the studio is our current affairs commentator, Dr. Gao Zhikai, and also Vice President of Center for China and Globalization. Welcome, Dr. Gao.
Thank you very much for having me.
And now we're heading over to my colleague Xie E in Washington, D.C. Let's hear what topics from China's Two Sessions concern them the most. Xie E.
Thank you, Ouyang. This year's Two Sessions are of particular importance as China has officially announced its entry into a new era. Here in the United States, the media are following closely on the annual work report Chinese government released on March the 5th. China's economic growth is certainly of most interest. The Washington Post says the economic growth target China sets this year is ambitious. The New York Times also agrees that this goal is robust by global standards. Joining me today in our Washington studio is Bill Jones, Washington Bureau Chief of Executive Intelligence Review. Mr. Jones, welcome to our program.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So let's recap the statistics a little bit more. According to the government work report, China aims to see the economic growth to expand by 6.5% this year, unchanged from 2017. But China outperformed last year, expanding by 6.9% and picking up the speed for the first time in 7 years. So what's your take on the target set this year? Is it an ambitious one?
Well, I think it's a very realistic target. The interesting thing of this year, of course, was that China made the decision with the decline of the international export market some years ago to try and push for a consumer push in the growth period. And I think they met the targets this year. The amount of consumer spending that was a part of the GDP was much greater than before. So I think they're moving in the right direction. And I think they also have a very realistic view of how things are operating internationally as well. Very ambitious program which was presented. I think it's realistic targets. People have been very excited by some of the results of the economic development policies in China, particularly with regard to the poverty reduction program, which has caught the eye of the entire world. So I think China is moving in the right direction. The fact that they are playing such an important role in the world economy, in a world economy that still proves to be rather sluggish, is a very important sign because it kind of shows people the light at the end of the tunnel as we move forward in that direction, that China will be playing a much more important role in terms of trying to revive the world economy on a level that would be suitable to support our population.
Report also said that during the past 5 years, China's contribution to the global growth has exceeded 30%. And so how do you comment on China's contribution to the world economy?
China's contribution has been absolutely unique. In fact, the investment program in the Belt and Road Initiative in particular has created a certain sense of optimism, especially within the developing sector, where, say, 5 or 10 years ago, people didn't see much of a prospect of moving out of a period of economic underdevelopment and increasing poverty and misery, and now they feel that things are moving in the right direction. China has a project that spans 30 to 40 years. The idea of rejuvenation of China as a nation, the increasingly important role that it plays in the world economy and in world politics, I think has created a spark where people are now seeing possibilities where they didn't see them before in terms of being able to conduct infrastructure programs, to reinvest in their economy, to invest in their peoples. Now the situation is much different than it was before because the world economy in the international field was not presenting countries with the possibilities of growth. We saw what has happened in Europe is still in a very dim state. The American economy, while there is a lot of talk about how the stock market is going well, people generally feel that we're still in the midst of a malaise. We have a big problem in terms of infrastructure. People are excited by what China has done in this area in particular, and I think that that is the thing that will spark a movement forward. And hopefully this has already caught on to a large extent in Europe, which has, in many respects, supported and has cooperated with the Belt and Road Initiative. And I think ultimately also in the United States, where the situation is serious, but where there is now a discussion about infrastructure, that the role of China and the model of China in terms of moving forward will be playing a much more significant role internationally in the future than it has up until now. So China is really one of the doers and shakers in the world economy at this point. And I think this is very, very important for China and very important for the world.
Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jones. And that's all from me here in Washington. Back to you, Ouyang, in Beijing.
Thank you, Xie. Well, Dr. Gao, let's follow up on what they've been talking about in Washington, the economy. So China says it's entering a new era. What will that mean to the world's economy?
Well, by now, China is already the second largest economy in the world. By purchasing power parity, China is already the largest economy in the world. And the growth momentum in China still remains very strong and dynamic. It is expected that within the coming 10 years or so, China, even by nominal exchange rate, official exchange rate, will be the largest economy. And China is very impressive and extraordinary in many, many ways. China is already the largest manufacturing country in the world, largest trading nation in the world, and China has become a champion of free trade and globalization. And in this sense, I think China, upon the 40th year of the reform and opening to the outside world, is in the best position to reflect what has happened over the past 40 years, and look forward into the future. And I think China is in the best position to think about reform and opening to the outside world, and has a lot of experiences to share with the rest of the world. If any country in the world, any government in the world, big or small, believes that it has a better track record than China's, come, I will be very happy to meet with them. And I think China's impressive improvement and transformation is not only good for China, it's good for the rest of the world. And China is entering this new era mainly because China's weighting, China's importance, China's impact, China's influence on the rest of the world is coming and is accelerating. And China needs to continue to do a good homework at home, to keep improving the living standards of the people, to make the government more open, more transparent, more accountable and cleaner, and also to make sure that the people really enjoy all the benefits of the reform and opening to the outside world. And on the global stage, China needs to continue to exercise its good influence to make sure that the common community of the destiny of mankind can be better promoted, and the world of tomorrow will be of greater harmony, greater peace, greater stability, less war, if not no war, and peace prevailing in the world. This is what we expect of our great motherland.